Welcome to Bay Area Art Beat. We are in the studios of Shotgun Players, wonderful studio on University Avenue, and we are here to talk to Patrick Dooley. He will tell us some of the wonderful things that are coming up with the theater at Ashby Stage. Go to it, Patrick.
Right on. Thanks, Susan. Well, I mean, one thing for folks who have been in Berkeley for a while, I was speaking with one of the folks that working with you here, and reminded me that this was an old winery back in the day, and then it was Serendipity Books for a couple decades, and we took over this building 5 years ago, and there are 3 studios here. There's a set shop here. There's a costume shop here. So there's a lot of things, and we're not the only group that uses this space. There are another at least 2-3 dozen other groups that use the space over the course of the year.
So you have it open for other theater companies too?
Oh yeah, theater, Shaw Anderson Dance is here, improv groups are here. Right. There's stuff happening here all the time.
You have space available if anybody's looking for something?
That's right. So I'm not saying, if anybody wants to know, they can reach out to us at the website.
Great.
But right now what we're doing here is we're rehearsing our production of William Shakespeare's Henry V. I'm really excited to be doing the show. I mean, I'm excited for all the shows that we do, but I'm particularly excited about this one because this is the first time in our 28 years that we've ever done a show twice. I directed the show for the first time for Shotgun when we opened it, and when we started off at the Laval Subterranean, for those who know, on the north side of the UC campus. The Laval's Pizza Parlor had a basement space that we turned into a theater, and we did the show back then. It was a really successful show for us. But it's interesting directing the show when you're 27 years old, and then directing it in almost twice your life again later. All of the things that my understanding of the play and of the story of what happens in it is completely different now. I'm looking at the story through very different eyes. Yeah. I'm a different person than I was then. Yeah. And I think the world, for better or for worse, is also very different. And so the great thing about masterpieces is that, a really great work of art is a great lens to look at the world, to a way to contextualize and understand the world that you're in right now.
Yeah. It's amazing how Shakespeare always sort of makes sense in terms of the times you're in. It's incredible.
Doesn't matter when it's happening. You can always find some way to, and I remember wow, we feel so, it's an incredible gift to be able to work. And I feel like I feel really glib saying this, but it's an incredible gift to be able to work with language that's as magical and dense and multi-layered as this. So anyway, we're doing some fun things with it. One of the things I'd love to share is that we're doing some big renovations at the theater right now. Right. We moved into the Ashby Stage 15 years ago and really never did a thing. I still use the same key that was given to me when we bought it. I haven't even changed the locks when we purchased the building. But we're doing some things. We're expanding our lobby. We're adding some office space. We're making some improvements backstage for the actors in their bathroom. We're making some improvements to the concessions area. We're adding in some really cool new lights and some a new sound system. But the biggest part of the changes that we're making is that we've just raised a huge fund of money that we're going to be using so we can nearly double the salaries of the actors who work with us, because we talk about how important it is to have that theater be affordable. So we want our tickets to be affordable for folks, but we also need to make it affordable for artists to be in the plays. It's so expensive to live in the Bay Area that we need to be doing everything we can to make this feel like something that they can justify doing with their lives. We want to be able to support that, and so that's a big initiative that we're kicking off this year. And so the fun thing about opening this newly remodeled space, this newly remodeled theater with Henry V, is that Henry V was the first show in Shakespeare's Globe. So he had been performing in other spaces, but this was the show that inaugurated their space.
Exciting, great.
And our set for this show is going to actually, the set designer, we have a woman named Nina Ball, who designs all over the Bay Area, ACT, Cal Shakes, Aurora, designed like a little miniature globe theater for us to be performing in. So we'll be doing, we have the wooden O of Henry V in this show.
Great.
Yeah.
And you're collaborating with Cal Shakes on the set and things.
Yeah, Cal Shakes actually is, they're building the set for us. They've been doing some more of that. They're building sets for lots of other theaters in the Bay Area lately. And so it's a great thing. It's sort of like centralize that. I think there's some more efficiencies, some cost efficiencies there.
Wonderful.
And so keeps more folks employed, building the stuff there, and gives us quality craftsfolk to build this.
Makes work for them.
It's a win for everyone. It's a win for everyone.
Have you collaborated with them before?
And this is our first time.
Great, that's
this is the first time, but so far so good. Yeah.
So actually, this idea just popped into my head.
Yeah, go for it. Let's go.
Have you ever thought of doing housing over your parking lot for your actors?
It's funny. When we were talking about doing the renovations to this space, I was talking to Linda Mayo.
Yeah.
And Linda said, Patrick, what you should try to do is put some housing on top of your of the rehearsal studios. And I mean, I would not be opposed to any of those things happening.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of, it's just money.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just money. I mean, if I could, the big crisis, it's not a surprise to anybody here, but like housing is a huge crisis in the Bay Area, and anything that we could do to make housing for artists more available, we'd do it.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Let's throw it into the pot and see what happens.
Let's see what happens.
And I'm very, really looking forward to seeing what you do. I think I saw your first one.
Yeah, you might have. We'll save you a seat.
I'm very, very excited about seeing this one.
Right on.
Thank you so much. And thank you for inviting us here. And thank you for the fabulous work you do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thanks for covering it, Susan.
Thanks.
Okay.
We'll be right back with our next guest, who's going to be the incredible woman who will be playing Henry V. Okay. Welcome back to Bay Area Art Beat. We're here with the incredible woman who is going to be playing Henry V. And tell us about yourself, who you are, and why you're here, and what you're doing.
Okay, that's a good list. I'm Gabby Battista. I'm an actress in Bay Area, Sacramento region. And yes, I am playing Henry V here at Shotgun Players, and it's just been such an incredible opportunity to explore this play, this character, and to be playing a male role as a female, and seeing what that's like, kind of flipping Shakespeare on its head, but still pursuing the story. So that's been very exciting.
Yeah, it was okay for Shakespeare to have the men play women, and it should be perfectly wonderful to have women play men. So we'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
Have you done anything like this before?
Not to this date. Not that I would know of.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of different Shakespeare. I've done comedies. I've played numerous different roles in Shakespeare, as many people can do. But I don't think I've not only swapped genders for a play, but played a role as big as Henry V. So
Yeah.
it's first time, but very excited.
Great. Yeah. I mean, is this a tradition of women playing Henry V, or is this the first time you're familiar with it happening?
When I first got asked to play Henry V, I was very surprised. But then I started looking into it, and there are a lot of companies now that do have female leads. There's actually a female that played Henry V at the Globe a couple years ago.
Oh, great.
And there's
So,
also
tradition.
Yes, so I think it's starting to get put into the fold, which is just so incredibly inspiring. It's nice to know that you can see female references. You can reference other female leads playing big Shakespeare male roles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you work with the Shakespeare Company.
I do work with the Shakespeare Company. I'm over in Davis, California, working with the Davis Shakespeare Festival. So we work with a lot of classics and Shakespeare, and I'm with them as the development director and community outreach, but I also act with them too. So
Right.
I've had a lot of fun experience with the Davis Shakespeare Festival, diving into Shakespeare, trying new things, and that's sort of prepared me for this role with Henry. And
Great.
Yeah.
Have you worked with Shotgun before?
I have. So I did a show last year with them, with Mark Jackson and Beth Wilmert. The show was called Kill the Debbie Downers, Kill Them, Kill Them, Kill Them Off. And it was a devised movement piece based off of Anton Chekhov's The Three Sisters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so again, another amazing experience. It's always so fun to devise theater with Mark and Beth and be among so many talented Bay Area actors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are your plans for the future? Or do you have any?
Oh boy, I mean, this show has opened my eyes and has helped me and has guided me to really feel that anything is possible in terms of what parts to play and what roles to play.
Oh, that's fabulous.
So now, having done a history play like this, I would love to continue this sort of route. I know that the Royal Shakespeare Company, there's a female playing King John right now.
Oh, incredible.
And it's kind of fun to add the histories now to my list to check off of what parts to play.
Oh, that's amazing.
So I'm just super excited for what the future holds, and I just hope to continue to dive into more histories and play large roles, hopefully.
Great, great. Well, there's a lot of battle, and I mean, in this play, and you find that you don't feel uncomfortable with being warlike.
Well, yes. When first diving into this play, doing all the research, watching all the movies, you sit there, for me as a female, looking at it, and you just look at it like, okay, this is a lot of testosterone. This is a lot of war. This is a lot of aggression. This is a lot of, what men had to do in that time to suit up and kill.
Yeah.
And that is just something I can't relate, honestly, with that. As a female in that lineage, I've never suited up for war, but as females, we suit up for a lot of other things.
Yeah.
We have a lot of other strength in different ways. And so that's how I've been able to sort of channel how to go to war. I mean, women are at war a lot.
Yeah.
Emotionally, spiritually,
yeah.
physically.
Yeah.
Wherever you're at, we are in the modern day and throughout history have been on guard. And so applying that to the text and being able to play it in a space where people are very intimately sitting around and taking part of this story is a huge honor.
Great.
And I really want to bring that voice to females and hopefully be that inspiration for females. Like I've been inspired watching other females, like to know that you can play anything because you have the strength, you have the confidence. All that lies in women just as much as it does men.
Right.
And for anybody at that matter. And that's what's fun about being a female in this male play, is because it's also hopefully can strip away the dichotomy of male-female, the stigma of what it is to be a female, and really just bring the story out of what it means to trailblaze through with confidence, being a leader, leading people, and then what the complexity of that is. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
In this world, we do romanticize our leaders, And just because I'm female, yes, people will look for flaws in that, but there are also a lot of flaws in males too. So just bringing the humility to that is very exciting for me too.
Setting the stage for Elizabeth.
Oh yes, yes. I mean, it's an exciting time for our nation.
Yeah.
To see more and more females run to be political leaders, and to have a lot of scrutiny too with that. But it's also like, yes, see me for my faults, and also see me for being a human. Also see me for my leadership, and know that I could lead just as well as you.
I think that's a very important lesson, and I think it's a very important time to put that lesson out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, and you're working a little bit with the Shakespeare Company, Cal Shakespeare Company, in terms of the set, and are you working with them in any other way here?
Yes. So I'm also part of one of their educators. So I've gone into some high schools and done some of the residency programs teaching movement and viewpoints, voice, and I'll also be teaching Henry VIII coming up for some 7th graders out in Orenda, and that will be fun to do that concurrently with Henry V. So I'm really diving into history plays, and I'm so stoked. It's really great to be a student in this particular
Terrific.
part of
Thank you
Shakespeare.
so much.
Thank
It's been
you.
great talking to
Yes,
you.
you
really.
too. Thanks
and
for having me here.
I'm going to enjoy coming and seeing
Yes,
this play.
please check it out.
And what a pleasure to have Josh Kornbluth, a guest on our show and in the studios here at Shotgun. So you had, at one time in my life, I watched you on KQED.
I did.
So
I did a show for 2 years there. It had a really cool title, The Josh Kornbluth Show.
How original, how incredible. Who thought that up?
Yeah. I was just glad they picked me for it.
Yeah, so, really. It could have been anyone, right?
Yeah.
So you are going to be doing some work, or maybe you're already doing work with Shotgun Theater, Shotgun Players. Tell me what's going on.
So I'm in their upcoming season. I'm gonna with a show that is called Citizen Brain. And it's based on my experiences, which have been amazing and sort of bizarre, being in the center of one of the great places that studies brain disease at UCSF. And so a few years ago, I just found myself all of a sudden a fellow at the Global Brain Health Institute. Wow. And so I've been all brain all the time, and I'm doing a show that comes out of my experiences there.
Yeah, how did you find yourself there?
Well, you know Jeff Hoyle, the clown?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I ran into Jeff Hoyle one day, and I said, well, what are you doing? He said, I'm going to do this performance, and I've been a visiting artist at this place at UCSF called the Memory and Aging Center. And so then when I got home, I Googled the Memory and Aging Center, which is in the neurology department at UCSF. And then I sent an email to the guy, Dr. Bruce Miller, who runs it, asking if I could come in and talk to him about maybe being a visiting artist. And then when I got there, he said, well, you know, there was already a visiting artist, but then there was this whole other thing they were starting called the Global Brain Health Institute. And it's one of 7 institutes around the world that were all funded by the Atlantic Philanthropies, which I'd never heard of. This guy named Chuck Feeney, who made billions of dollars from selling at duty-free shops. He owned duty-free shops, that's what I hear. And then he decided years ago to give away all of his money to things that would do good in the world.
Great.
Until all of his money would be gone, and then that would be it. And so this is the last chunk of money. He decided to go to these 7 institutes that all promote justice and fairness. And so the Global Brain Health Institute, GBHI, is about pursuing justice and fairness in brain health.
So you started this job when Trump first came into office.
Right. I was starting at the Global Brain Health Institute, which is being a fellow there it's a full-time position, and it originally was for a year, and so I found myself there. Yes, the same week that Trump was being inaugurated, and of course that was very heavy in my mind.
Yeah.
My wife and I had been talking a lot about how are we going to be part of the resistance? What are we going to do? And so I found myself, here I was at this place studying the brain, learning about the brain, and I thought, well, this is not where I should be in the resistance. If I'm going to be in the resistance, what am I going to do with the brain? But then I was looking at a brain scan that they were showing at my first meeting I went to. It was a meeting of doctors. It was the Monday morning patient review, and they were showing brain scans. And I was looking at the brain scans, and I guess because I, at that point, didn't know anything about what I was looking at, I started seeing like a map of the US and the red states and the blue states. And then they were talking about, they were talking about atrophies, that dementias are almost all caused by these blockages in our brain that are called atrophies, that are made by misfolded proteins. And that essentially what dementia is, as I learned, it's a failure to communicate. Those atrophies block communication in your brain between different parts of it and within different parts of it. And so I was thinking right away, well, that's what we have in our politics. We have, political dementia. Yeah. Is what we're suffering from. And so here they are. I'm at the place that's maybe it definitely is one of the foremost places in the world for studying dementia, trying to come up with a cure for dementia. And then I decided that my purpose was going to be to try to come up with a cure for our political dementia. Yeah. And that launched me into this political and scientific pursuit where I've been learning simultaneously all the stuff about the brain, but then I've been connecting it to the group brain, our collective brain, or if you will, what I'm calling our citizen brain.
That's great.
So the thing that I feel holds us together, the thing that's being blocked, that I really am focusing on, is empathy. I feel like empathy is being blocked, that people are seeing Americans are seeing other Americans as being the other, as being them rather than us. Yeah. And of course, many Americans are being demonized currently, who are us, but they're being made into thems. And so my idea was, well, can we do something with empathy? Can I instigate something that starts to make the country and more people in the country more empathic? And I learned they had discovered there that there is a circuit. They discovered where I was at the Memory and Aging Center at UCSF. There is a circuit in the brain that they call the empathy circuit. They discovered it there. And then I learned that because I was learning about brain plasticity, that our brains can be rewired. In fact, they're always rewiring, right? But we can also consciously rewire our own brains, right? So basically, I learned that our empathy circuit can be strengthened. And not only can I strengthen my own empathy circuit by practicing, but also it can spread. I can spread empathy so that other people's empathy circuits also become stronger. And because at one point I was, I go around, I'm still there, but I was going around to all these various great neurologists, and then at one point I was saying, well, how do you transmit stuff like from the brain? Like, how would you transmit empathy? How would I transmit it to someone else? How would I do that? And I was told I was actually asking Professor Kate Rankin at the time, and she said, well, one of the most powerful ways of rewiring people is through storytelling.
Oh, great.
And so, fortunately, that's like all I do. I'm not really good at basketball or pretty much anything.
That's a shocker.
Yes, architecture, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know, but I tell stories compulsively, and I do it in the theater, and that's what I'm going to do, of course, at Shotgun starting in October.
It's so exciting.
So that's my
very
empathy
exciting.
revolution.
Yeah.
I'm trying to instigate a peaceful worldwide revolution of empathy, and it's starting this fall with the Shotgun Players at the Ashby Stage Theater in my piece, Citizen Brain.
Okay, the beginning of the revolution, and right in time for the election. Excellent.
Which is, that's why Patrick booked it for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, really.
My pleasure.
And really, good luck. This is very exciting work.
Isn't it cool? It's really cool. And
it's amazing that you were able to find something like this. I mean,
it sort of found me, and it's sort of in a way through Jeff. Well, but I ran into it on the street. But it is an amazing thing to come into my life now.
Yeah, yeah.
Because also, as you may know from my other pieces, I was supposed to lead a communist revolution.
Well, I like the empathy revolution better.
I like it a lot better.
Yeah, no, it's really amazing.
Yeah, so I'm really excited.
So we'll be back next month with another marvelous program. And until then, stay amazed.